on the synthetic version of manipulating this natural process, the same way the New Age wants to jump in front of this shift in consciousness and say, well, it's all about love and light, and we just have to be happy and compassionate with everything, and that's it, and we'll just allow this system to just continue on its process of maintaining slave ownership over the masses, because it's us that are changing, and we just have to trust our government to do what it's going to do because they are of a different vibration and they will do this. It's one-sided. It's not tapping into the essence of who and what we are on a deeper layer. It's not tapping into the fire that is the destructive nature balanced with the creative nature. In order for the balance between the dark and the light to truly take effect and root itself, the programs that are benefiting off of the lack of consciousness of the individuals and benefiting off of the sickness and the disease have to be destroyed. There is nothing bad about destruction when you understand destruction from the Most High perspective. When you die, that's understood as destroying. Like your body is just, your physical body is destroyed, but your soul essence is, which is the creative part of you, is the non-physical. It will never die. But in order for you to rise in another layer of consciousness, in a higher vibration of experience, this body we interpret as dying, which is a form of destruction. It's natural. So the system that is in place, that is a parasite to the consciousness and the earth plane experience as a whole, has to die in order for the essence of who and what we are to rise within this experience. You can't have both at the same time. You can take the highest vibrations of that experience and interpret them into the next vibration that you are experiencing, but you will never be able to take the entire foundation, because that foundation is built on the blood and the bones of the consciousness as a whole. If you can't let that shit go, then you as the experiencer will remain in that level of consciousness and that experience that is largely an illusion. That's what I'm seeing is the threshold with the Mandela effect, and pretty much like the Google hive mind, the synthetic hive mind, the people that will just believe whatever they are told by Google. Google is still telling you about the heliocentric model. Google is still telling you about the Big Bang and the government and all this other stuff. It's literally the artificial consciousness. And like I said, there are positives, obviously, to it, but that's the thing. The system has to sell you bags of shit caked in candy sprinkles to make you think that's good, that something good is happening. This is why technology is released on certain times. This is why we are distracted by all kinds of Hollywood movies and NASA programming, because you have to believe, or the people who believe in that system have to believe in it in order to make it real. It's the magic show. You need child mentalities, actual consciousness to make it real. The magic show is NASA and the scientism as a whole, and your magicians are Bill Nye, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Michio Kaku, Ray Kurzweil, and all these Brian Cox, all these other people who are Carl Sagan, all these other people who are getting in front of your face and telling you this is how this is, and if you don't think like this, then something is wrong with you. So this experience is starting to realize a deeper layer of who and what we are. So like in this video, a year ago, ISIS was a lot more in the news, and even today. But Isis is the feminine energy, and when we're talking about these magicians work on an energetic level, so you have to be separated from the understandings of that energy, that shift, by mainstream demonization, by labeling terrorists a group called ISIS, which is largely created by the magicians themselves to make you believe in this terrorist group the same way 9/11 made you believe we were supposed to bomb Iraq, and then Al-Qaeda, and then Afghanistan, and Bin Laden, and all this other stuff. When you already know that every single war is being funded and created by the so-called powers that be so they can make a profit over the masses to maintain the haves and the have-nots. Every side is being played, and every illusion is being played. At the same time, on a metaphysical layer, we have to be separated from the essence of who and what we are on the deepest layer. And labeling a terrorist group ISIS subconsciously separates you from the essence of the divine feminine. So in the Mandela effect, people aren't buying the shit. They aren't buying that. So that's subconsciously and non-physically, the spiritually reconnecting you to what's outside of that illusion. And people who interpret their reality from a particular language or dogma or perspective or whatever use these labels, like Sophia and Isis, the Egyptians, and the Gnostics, and all these other people have interpreted the same energies from a different language. These are just labels for like Earth and the divine feminine and so on and so forth. So when people are tapping into that energy, regardless of what language you speak, it's going to have an effect on the experience as a whole. So when we are doing that on our own, we are affecting how we experience the experiencers. We are affecting the entire experience. And this is how I'm seeing what the Mandela effect is. So that's basically what I was saying in this video in reference to what's going on here. Now, in reference to CERN being involved in this whole program, CERN is just another version of magic tricks and just another version of like a monkey with a smartphone sort of thing. CERN is basically, CERN telling you that CERN is shifting your reality is like Christopher Columbus discovering America. It's total bullshit. It's a total lie when you understand the depths of the infinite space of consciousness that predates Columbian history, that and predates the university system and everything that led up to the technology of CERN. Consciousness predates technology. Your body is the technology. Your software, your consciousness is the technology of this experience that has ultimately nothing to do with these little cheap magic tricks of technological magicians who want to convince you that things are the way they tell you that they are. It's no different than NASA telling you that you live on a ball or a pear or some kind of oblate, whatever the hell they want to call it, to make you believe in the magician. The heliocentric model is designed to make you believe in the magician, not necessarily understand the magic trick itself. They will never tell you how the magic trick works. The trick is to make you believe in the magician. So CERN telling you about that is like Christopher Columbus discovering the new world. So CERN is going to be this new world that is trying to make you believe in the magicians of the new world, a new Columbian era. So he discovered this, and that supposedly proved the round earth. So when CERN is coming out now, the side perspective of that, like the round earth perspective from Columbus sailing the ocean blue and all that shit, will be this quantum experience, this quantum reality. So they want you to believe in the quantum reality, possibly the simulation theory, still all based upon the heliocentric model. And since the flat earth is going mainstream now, it'll be easy for them to integrate the flat earth and possibly even the infinite plane of experience from a scientism perspective. They're only going to ever give you 10% of understanding the reality at best, so they can maintain the 90% of energy through consciousness and ignorance and illusion over the masses to maintain control over people and the haves and the have-nots. So they can science the shit out of flat earth, they can science the shit out of CERN and their idea of a simulated experience, but they will never go into the balances of nature, because that will take away the power, the so-called power of the powers that be, so-called powers that be. So the Mandela effect is the shifting of consciousness. How I'm seeing it is the shifting of consciousness, where you will have beings of a lower vibration who will believe in, who need that's their only choice. It's not like they're of a lower vibration because other people are higher. No, it's because people don't have another choice. Like people who emotionally react to something, they have no other way of responding to something. So that is relative to their level of consciousness. So people who can't look at any of the flat earth stuff or even challenge the globe earth, that's because they're not ready. That's their level of consciousness is part of it. So people who aren't looking into consciousness or the non-physical reality and so on and so forth, it's not because of they're dumb or ignorant or something like that. No, on a non-judgmental, purely existing scale, it's everybody is on their own time. Everybody, that you have the collective time, and then you have the individual time, your soul time. It's time to experience certain things, and it's not time to experience certain things for certain people. So we have all of these things that are being placed in front of us to make us believe in what we are told. This system is synthetic. It's a magic trick, trying to, like, buying Twitter followers, 16 million Twitter followers. That's basically like a YouTuber buying 16 million subscribers. It's the same thing. Like, what kind of effect that would have? Like, look at Jenna Marble. She's got 16 million subscribers now. And people see her as like the biggest or one of the biggest YouTubers out there. Same thing with like PewDiePie and Casey Neistat and all these like leading YouTubers. That's an actual energy, no different than the mainstream media. They are putting out the same energies, consciousness, that maintain a level of consciousness over the people. This is why the trending is out there. And this stuff is amplified. It's not only happening on its own, but it's amplified by the system to maintain the storyline that adds to people believing in the magic spells. So they will put other people out in front of you who believe in the magic spells to make you believe in the so-called powers that be behind the veil, who are pulling the strings of these puppets who don't see themselves as puppets because that's how deep this shit goes. It's just like, it's not based upon any one individual. It's the entire chess, the 3-tier chess game of the soul, the mind, and the body. So locking us into lower vibrations is like locking people into the physical reality. It's very dense. So the more dense that you get, the more separated that you are. The more separated that you are, the more you can be controlled. The more separated you will be from understanding your true power. This is the intention of the system as a whole, to dense densify you, to lock you into lower vibrations. This is what the public education system is. This is what the university system is. This is what this CERN perspective of the Mandela effect is, to lock you into the dense version of technology, this fake version of consciousness and experience as a whole through a filter. No different than religious dogma, preachers, your university professors who are teaching you illusions. It needs to filter you in order to maintain those people putting money in the basket in the church, and people putting money in the university system, and truly believing in that system. And like I said, they have to sell you some things that are positive with ultimately the negative. So the more we are labeled, the more we are separated, the denser we become, the more separated we become.